Ladies and gentlemen, the time is now 7:35. Welcome to the May 4th, 2026 meeting of the Mayor and Town Council of Forest Heights, Maryland. This meeting will now come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hines,
Present.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Here.
Councilmember Brownson,
Here.
Councilmember Little,
Present.
Councilmember McDonald, Council President Noble,
Here.
Mayor Lilly.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, we'll now have a moment of silence. Thank you. Next, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, I ask that everyone who's able will join us in standing. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Next, we'll have meeting minutes. The meeting minutes for April 15th, 2026 were distributed in advance. Are there any changes or corrections to the minutes from April 15th? Councilmember Brownson.
I just had a question about the ambassador from Latin America Youth Center. His name is spelled differently in different sections of the minutes. I was just wondering which one is the correct spelling for him.
Noted, Madam Clerk. Thank you. If there are no further changes or corrections, the minutes are accepted as presented with the correction. Next, we'll move into approval of the main agenda. I move that we adopt tonight's main agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt tonight's main agenda. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it, and the agenda is adopted. Next, we'll have a proclamation for National Police Week. And it reads, whereas each year we honor the law enforcement officers who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty, remembering their courage and unwavering commitment to upholding the law and protecting citizens. And whereas the law enforcement professionals across the United States serve with bravery, dedication, and a deep commitment to the safety and well-being of their communities, and often at great personal risk. And whereas Peace Officers Memorial Day, observed on May 15th, and National Police Week, observed this year from May 15th through May 21st, serve as a time for reflection and tribute to those fallen heroes. And whereas the Forest Heights Police Department remains steadfast in its mission to protect and serve our community, ensuring peace and security for all residents. And whereas it is important that we recognize the sacrifices made by law enforcement professionals, not only in Forest Heights, but across the nation, and take this opportunity to thank them for their selfless service, resilience, and continued efforts to uphold the rule of law. And whereas it is our collective duty to honor the memories of fallen officers and support those who continue to serve in law enforcement, acknowledging their contributions are integral to the safety and vitality of our communities. Now, therefore, the Mayor and Town Council of the Town of Forest Heights do hereby proclaim the week of May 15th as National Police Week in the Town of Forest Heights, and call upon residents, community leaders, organizations, and others to join in honoring sacrifices made by law enforcement professionals across the nation, with special recognition of the Forest Heights Police Department for their continued dedication to serving and protecting our town. I move that we adopt the proclamation for National Police Week.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt the proclamation for National Police Week. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. The proclamation is adopted. Next, we have a proclamation for Asian American and Pacific Islanders Month, and it reads, whereas May is recognized nationally as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, honoring the rich history, cultures, and contributions of individuals of Asian and Pacific Islander descent. And whereas Asian Americans and Pacific Islander communities represent diverse backgrounds from East Asia, Southeast Asia, and the Indian subcontinent, and the Pacific Islands, each adding to the cultural fabric of our nation and our town. And whereas these individuals have contributed significantly to the American life, from public service and education to business, science, the arts, and civil rights. And whereas this month commemorates the arrival of the first Japanese immigrants to the United States in 1843 and was officially recognized as a Heritage Month in 1992. And whereas leaders such as former Vice President Kamala Harris, the first South Asian American to hold that office, and the late US Senator Daniel K. I'm going to mess this name up, Inouye, a decorated World War II veteran and public servant from Hawaii, reflect the enduring legacy and leadership of these Americans. And whereas the town of Forest Heights recognizes and values the contributions of these residents in fostering a more inclusive and vibrant community. And now, therefore, we, the mayor and town council of the town of Forest Heights, do hereby proclaim May 2026 as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in Forest Heights, and encourage all residents to celebrate the heritage, achievements, and voices of Asian American and Pacific Islander individuals past and present. I move that we adopt the proclamation for Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt the proclamation for Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. The proclamation is adopted. Next, we'll have a swearing in of our Emergency Preparedness Committee member, Miss Mary Burnett. If you'd please come forward at this time. Well, Miss Burnett is a longtime resident of the town. Could you tell us again how long you've been in Forest Heights?
47 years.
Wow, 47 years. And we just recently learned through application that Miss Burnett worked for over 2 decades in emergency management for the federal government. And so she's stepping up not just as a volunteer who wants to offer her time, but someone who has demonstrated expertise in this field. And we're looking forward to your contributions to help the town plan for its emergencies. Okay, so we are going to switch positions. You'll stand here and Ms. Smoot can stand here. You'll raise your right hand and you'll place your left hand on the Bible. All right. I state your name.
I, Mary Burnett,
Do affirm that I will support the Constitution
do affirm to support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States,
and that I will
and I will.
be faithful and bear true allegiance
I'll be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and laws thereof.
and that I will,
And then I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of
execute the office of
Emergency Preparedness Committee member
Emergency Preparedness Committee member
in the town of Forest Heights,
in the town of Forest Heights,
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and laws of this state.
and laws of the state.
Congratulations. So what we're going to do is we'll step over. Put the photograph over here on the glass. That was quick. Yeah, quick. You want to have the words? What that number? Marks. Okay. Well, congratulations. Let's give Ms. Burnett a hand once again. Next on our agenda, we have a presentation from the National View team. And with us today, we have Mr. Andrew Clayman, who's going to present.
Would you like me to step to the?
Yes, sir. Please come forward to the mic. That way folks at home can hear as well.
And you could call up the presentation. Thank you for having me here. I'm happy to make the presentation this evening. While we're getting the presentation up on screen. And do you need me to put it up, or do you have the one I sent along?
It looks like Mr. Jackson's bringing the presentation up.
Okay. While he's getting the presentation ready, I did look up the history of what I hope this will be the conclusion of. So the National View project has a pass system that moves through the project itself. And as it comes off the National View property, it crosses an easement area. And then through that easement to the town of Forest Heights. That easement is also the location of where the WSSC sewer lines will be and where the water lines will be. And the agreement covers the conditions of which our use would, which the development would use the property. And we started this in December of 2023 and have worked through the conditions along the way. And what we're looking at here, excuse me, sit down here. And what we're looking at here is the continuation of that through the property from the easement. And then at this point, which would allow the multimodal trail, both walking and bicycle trail, to safely move through the streets of Forest Heights and connect to the sidewalk system. So what you see in that red and blue striped line would be an area that would be striped for pedestrian and bike use. As it comes out of the easement area, there would be bollards to stop any automotive traffic trying to drive up the pass system over the easement and up through National View. And those bollards would exist at both ends of the project, so cars could not get through there. Those are the yellow vertical items in the two images on the lower left. Above that would be a sign that says, you know, park is open from dawn to dusk, which would be illuminated. There'd be an LED sign that would go with it. And that would occur, and for the benefit of the folks that are here, I'll speak up. Here's the easement Bollard sign would be here. This is the striped pathway. What we're proposing is the bike path come up here and sidewalk come up farther. If you could flip to the next slide, there are two.
And that's along Seneca.
This is along Seneca. So, sorry, this is the bottom of Seneca here in the lower left. And this is,
North Huron.
North Huron as it comes up. Because the water and sewer are below ground, the bottom of Seneca will be torn up. Just so that we're clear, that will all be either rebuilt to county and town standards, or repaired to a like new condition. So the bottom of Seneca will actually be improved once we tear it up, so that it'll actually be a nice terminus to that road. Okay, next slide. So in this case, you'll see on the left image, that's the combined bike and trail. And what I have here is these three images surrounding it that would show what that trail might look like. So the bike and trail image, some kind of color designation of where the trail goes, some striping area for pedestrians at the crosswalks. So at each of the streets, there's a striped area crosswalk, and then there's one across Seneca that goes parallel to Huron. And then, of course, a curb cut and a sidewalk extension. There is a sidewalk that comes down to Huron that stops at the driveway, does not quite make it to Seneca. This would make that completion. And what we're proposing is to actually extend the multimodal route so that people could move through the town to the sidewalk, up to the next park, and essentially up to, what is that, 210 as it begins to cross?
210.
Where there is a light and a pedestrian connection across 210. So this would be the addition that we would provide on Forest Heights property, should it be approved, that would allow the completion of the trail and path system. So that would go from the very top end of the National View property, which is all the way through the property, across the easement and into Forest Heights. And you'd be able to do it as a pedestrian in either direct trail or marked areas. And for bicycles, in a kind of combination. So that's what we're proposing. I believe this is the last exhibit, the last piece of the easement agreement that is left to be negotiated. And we're hoping that we can, that this satisfies the Forest Heights requirement for safety. So it's parking, it's driving control at the bottom of the site. It's lighted signage that states when things are open. It's the repair of, obviously, of all damaged road, which is a given, plus safety markings and striping. And as it goes up Seneca, it goes up the, there are two sides of Seneca in the, between Huron and the end, one of which has a series of houses with driveways. The other has the houses that have side yards, no driveways. So this would go up the area that has the side yard, no driveways, and would provide a demarked pedestrian multimodal path. So I'll stop and answer questions if you like before I sit down.
Thank you, Mr. Clayman. Are there questions from council? I'll let you all go first. I have a question afterwards. Councilmember Kennedy.
Thank you for coming out. So I'm visualizing what you're saying. So basically, if you're coming from the very end of Seneca, so it's going to come up, you're going to improve that area because it's not attractive looking right now.
We're going to tear it up anyway, I think, to put the water and sewer line in, so it will get improved.
Okay. So is the road going to join with the, is it going to make a left on the South Huron?
So the striping will come all the way up to South Huron. There'll be a crosswalk there for both. And then what we're proposing is a curb cut and the sidewalk extension. So along South Huron, the sidewalk comes down and actually ends at the driveway, doesn't make it all the way to the corner. So we're suggesting that we make that connection.
Okay,
And that's the little black line, at the top.
okay, so it's gonna go past the park and then the safe route to school may is what we use the grant funding to create sidewalks on the top part and here on all the way down. So it's gonna butt with that.
So let me show that. So what we're saying is that this is the pass system. That's the crosswalk. This black line right here, you can see the sidewalk coming down. It stops here. We're suggesting that we add sidewalk here to the crosswalk. So the trail system would be from our end would be complete.
Sounds good in theory. I just can't remember. I know North Huron has a sidewalk from the top down.
Yeah.
I just can't visualize a full sidewalk from the park to the corner of Seneca.
But there isn't one there at the moment. In fact, the sidewalk that comes down Huron actually stops at a driveway. So what we're suggesting is that the National View project, when it's working on all of this, would complete that.
Okay, thank you.
That's paid for by the development as part of the easement agreement.
Council President Noble.
This quick question, and this may be for the mayor or you. But I know we looked at an easement agreement, so has it been modified or changed or is this a proposal for the agreement?
This would be a proposed addition to the agreement that you've seen. This, I think, I think this is the last piece that is under discussion.
Councilmember Brownson.
This is back to the history of the project. When we started the project Harborview, were there intention to build single-family homes?
There was not.
Never have been an intention to have single-family homes?
No, the property right now, if I understand it, the property that backs up along Cree was originally zoned for single-family homes. That zoning has been changed. There's no intention to do single-family homes in the National View property.
Okay. So I know, I'm going back to history, but I know when it was zoned for single-family homes and the tax that go with that was kind of based on the town getting property tax from the single-family homes. So since it changed, did you all change the tax that you all would be paying to the town of Forest Heights?
Yes, and in fact, the annexation agreement covers that. The taxes that are paid actually by the multifamily buildings would be substantially more than what the town would receive had the single family homes been built.
Right, but I'm asking, did the pre-annexation agreement change since there wasn't, because I see on the Treasury report that the pre-annexation agreement for Harborview is 0.1%, whereas that was agreed upon when you were going to have single-family homes. So did that change?
No, the annexation agreement that was put together by the Forest Heights team and the National View team was done with the assumption that there would be multifamily properties here, that this would be a much higher density, higher tax structure project.
And then I have another question. So the sidewalk that you're proposing, on the easement, is just gonna go down to where it's North Huron and Seneca meet.
Correct.
So what about the people that need to walk all the way down Seneca?
That's this right.
So from the North Huron Seneca connection, there would be a striped, designated
Mhm.
all the way to the easement area.
Right, I understand that, but what I'm saying is that you don't have any intentions of making the sidewalk all the way down to to the entrance of the town, of the north side of the town.
So the sidewalk that runs along North Huron goes all the way up to the top of the town. We
Right,
would,
I asking about Seneca.
okay, that's outside of our purview. So National View, National View is able to do improvements, within National View and at its edges. But I think it's how the tax dollars that are generated by the project are spent on, and what they're spent on, that would be for the town to decide. But the project can't afford to put in sidewalks throughout the town. That's sort of beyond the scope of what the,
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't mentioned throughout the town, I was only mentioning Seneca.
no, what we're able to do is this connection here.
Thank you.
Council President Noble.
How are you on the schedule? I know the last time you were here, 18 months, so where are we now?
We are at the point where the final detailed site plan comments, which have gone back and forth since the approval, are ready to be submitted. They'll go in at the end of this week, at which point we will then move towards certification. Once the detailed site plan is certified, then the project will vacate the existing plats and replat it to match. So the entitlement component would be done. And then we will go through a financing round before we are ready to actually start the horizontal work. So right now, we're looking at the plats, the entitlements being done beginning of September, beginning to mid-September. We think that would be completed. And then there'll be a financing period where we look for partners, we talk to the banks, we get everything lined up so that we can then begin the horizontal work. So I don't quite have a more definitive timeline yet. We should have a better idea when we get closer to the plat certification, because at that point we'll be talking with the financial markets and potential partners.
You have additional questions?
Yes, I just want to
Yeah.
piggyback on that. As far as the entitlement and the plats and the finalizing the finance, would it require anything else from the town?
The completion of the easement agreement is the only piece right now that the town would need to do in order for the entitlements to be finished. After that, we'll follow the tenets of the annexation agreement. I think there's some dollars that we would owe you for trees and a few other items. But we would not need input from the town until we're ready to get started. And
Okay,
then it's going to be public safety. I do believe that as we work up the exhibit in detail, I think we'll talk with your public safety folks and with the, Maryland National Capital Park and Planning and the county folks to make sure that we're following all rules and regulations for, what we do to the roads.
would you need to go back to Maryland Park and Planning?
Well, we're right now still working with Maryland Park and Planning. We're not done with they're not done with us yet.
Thank you, Mr. Clayman, for the updates and answers so far. So with the proposed improvements for pedestrians and the lanes, the completion of an area of sidewalk, there was a discussion about an annual payment to the town for this agreement. Is that still a component?
So we had in the prior discussions a annual easement fee. This was something that was started with the prior lawyer. That was an annual fee. I think it started at $1,000. You asked to have it raised to four. I think we moved it to 5. It was last moved to 10, and I believe that's where it stands now. And that is something that the project can afford, that annual fee.
Any other questions for Mr. Clayman or the National View team? Well, hearing none, thank you for the update and for the proposal. And we look forward to providing an update soon.
Great. Let me add, just for the record, that I think we're looking to get the easement agreement resolved by the end of this month. That would help keep us on track with our, because the easement agreement is critical for the submission of documents. So I would ask the town council to work with us to to get through our document, our agreement within that time frame, if that's at all possible. Thank you.
All right. Next on our agenda, we have a presentation from Greenwell Consulting. Do we have a member of the Greenwell team online tonight? Okay. What was that? Okay. It's going to be May 20th instead. Good night. All right. Well, I move that we amend the agenda, removing the presentation from Greenwell until May 20th. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we amend tonight's agenda, removing the presentation by Greenwell presentation and moving it to May 20. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. The agenda is amended. At this time, we'll now have council member and mayor reports, and we'll begin in Ward 1 with council member Shanice Little.
Good evening, everyone. All in unison. So over the weekend, the Finance Committee met to begin discussions of the FY 27 budget. We reviewed the current goals and priorities and just started to identify areas where adjustments may be needed to ensure that the town needs are being met and everything. This process will continue. We'll have more meetings and discuss further. I also wanted to let everyone know about an opportunity for residents looking to grow professionally. I found out about a training program focused on professionalism and customer service experience skills. It's available to help with resume support, interviewing preparation, and certification that will help you stand out to employers. I have more information, and I also intend on sharing it with our clerk and administrator so it could be out for the public. But if you want to know more, you can email me or contact the clerk and she could get questions answered for you all. That's all for me now. Oh, card and crochet, third Friday every month here at the town hall.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Ward 2, Councilmember Brownson.
Good evening, everyone. The community garden is coming along. We're gonna have a meeting there this Saturday from 9 to 11 for the gardeners that have bids already, and there are still bids available. If someone want to rent a bid for the growing season. They have $50, and you can contact the town hall at 301-839-1030 if you're interested in purchasing a bid in the community garden. We also had the Ways and Means Committee meeting, quarterly meeting on Saturday as well. It was very spirited. We went through some of the line items of the budget and found, and I think we agreed that some of the things that, that the departments need to go back and look at their budget again, because one of the things we discussed that wasn't in the draft was a facility for the police department. And I think, the consensus was that maybe they should add a line item on the budget for a police facility. And put some money in that, and that might make each department adjust their budget. And we also, talked about, the strategic plan, with the star cleaners. And so I think, Mr. Frankenfield and Mr. Jackson suggested at that Ways and Means Committee that we put that on the budget, on the agenda to discuss as a full council on how we want to handle that, that space and that loan that we're paying. So that was outcomes. So I'm asking that we maybe try to find a way to put that on the agenda in the near future so we can discuss that. I think that's all I have. I did look at the Mr. Frankenfield's budget about what the tax rate of the town. And then I was concerned that, the commercial property, the rental property, the residential property tax, and we all pay 4% or higher. But Harborview is gonna be paying 1%. And that's what made me ask that question about why they're gonna be paying such a low tax rate than everybody else in the town. So I guess we need to look at the amortization agreement, to find out what happened there. It's strange, I should say. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Bronson. Next, we'll go to Councilmember Kennedy, also from Ward 2.
The market event that transpired this past Saturday, I think went off pretty well. I've gotten calls from different residents insofar as the grass cutting program. And I think we're still waiting on the county to see if they're not gonna do it. Okay, correct.
We hear that discussion.
Yeah. So I was just enlightened that, well, basically they're not sure what the situation is. I think they're trying to see if they can find funding to do this. But some of the residents are already trying to find other avenues to get the grass cut because obviously they don't want a citation and they don't want to be the yard that looks horrible.
Or get coded.
Correct. So, but I did talk with the mayor, the chief, the town administrator, and our code enforcement officer to let them know about those yards just in case. It's not that they don't want it cut. Unfortunately, they were under the program last year, and we're not sure what the funding is looking like this year.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Council President Noble from Ward 3. You'd like to yield? Councilmember Hines?
Good evening, Forest Heights. I want to just do an update and I want to say thank you very much because we had some calls about Onondaga and Onondaga looks really nice. I don't know if you guys have driven down Onondaga, but the hole is gone. And so I've had residents really beeping, letting them know that, they're, thank you. They appreciate it. So, we just want to say they heard us and, so thank you. Yeah, I've been having, some residents talk about the grass. So I'm just trying to get an update. It's not going to happen. No, there's nothing that we can do? The seniors? No? No?
It sounds like the program that Councilmember Kennedy was talking about where the county did it. Doesn't sound like that program is happening, or we haven't got confirmation that it's going to proceed as it did last year. Council President Noble's going to talk to, who was it?
I've spoken to the county office, and they said that they haven't opened it up because they don't know that they have the fund, if the funding is allocated for that this year. And people will have to apply again anyway. So it wasn't just a recurring enrollment. But those people, if they bring it back, then they will notify the people who had enrolled.
Thank you.
Okay. Council President Noble, also from Ward 3.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just a few things for Ward 2 and 3. I'm gonna speak on behalf of 2 and 3. When it comes to Satcham and Cree, the west side and the trash pickup, I'm still getting the same complaints about the trash, and I can witness some trash that I've seen there that is aging. So, and the residents, we don't have a problem cleaning our community, but we have a staff and we want people to just do those basic things. Also on Cree, they just started work today on the sewer line at the top of Cree. So right in the common area. So they just popped up, they started working. We had, I don't know if everybody received, but we did have an email where a resident requested that we add shredding to our cycle of activities for the town. And also access to the budget. So before the hearing, I don't know if it's, or we're waiting for something, or we don't put out the draft. So that's just FYI. And we had our neighborhood watch and public safety meeting tonight. And we talked about the stop sign, and it is changing behavior. And I've had some calls and I've gone to homes to look at the video. So once people saw their video, then they realized they hadn't stopped. So we're getting better at that. And another concern was the no left turn at Henry's. So the chief is going to look into that because that bothers a lot of people in the town. And I had a question on the flags out here. Can we get a bucket truck to just make the town, to replace the flags, make it look presentable? I know it's always on the schedule, but when is it gonna move? Because I think for me and other residents, when we do new events, and I'll use the Market Series, it was a lot of advertisement all through the town, but those things that matter, like budget hearing, elections, we don't get the same, our communication is inconsistent. In the newsletter, we don't have it. We had a meeting today, the residents didn't know that we had the neighborhood watch, and we gave the dates in enough time. So the communication needs to be consistent so that everyone knows, not just some people, but everyone. So if we could practice that, I think then we would do a better job in communicating. Also, I had a question, and this is for you, Mr. Jackson. The treasurer told me to ask you the difference between utilities and streetlights, that expense. Because the streetlights in the budget is 58,000. And if that's payable to Pepco, we have concern on Seneca and Rolfe, where the lights are just blinking. So if we're paying, then we should get service. So we can talk. Oh, go ahead.
So I didn't write the language in the budget draft, but just hearing that question, streetlights is something more specific, and I think utilities could be lumped into streetlights, water, or gas.
Well, the treasurer didn't know, and he referred me to you.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess that's another concern about the budget, the money, that if I ask the treasurer and he tells me to go to the town administrator, and we have to get back to the drawing board. So we need to know where the money is going, how we're spending these dollars. So I think that, oh, and I did have one other question. Black Hawk, is it on schedule, ahead of schedule?
So the last update that I have is that they're ahead of schedule.
Okay,
They've taken samples and they're a little ahead of schedule.
all right. And also in the finance meeting, or Ways and Means, both meetings, I suggested that there be additional funds added for audits as it relates to credit card audits, grant audits, just other audits, so that we can know where the spending is going. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Did you have something? Councilmember Kennedy.
Since you brought it up. Yes. Originally, I thought that the lights out here got switched to LED. So that it would be on one bill, so we can do an assessment of the difference in the cost of LED versus the high pressure sodium that.
It's as far as I know, as far as I understand, we haven't had that assessment yet.
Okay. Is it possible to, I guess, I don't know who would do that, the treasurer possibly? I mean, if y'all send me the bills, I'll look at them. Because it might be more advantageous for us to pay somebody to switch out the street lights, even if it's street at a time, to LED. So that way we will save money.
So I can talk to you more about that offline, but it's also I understand that it's something that may need to go out to bid for this professional assessment, but I can talk to you more about that offline.
Okay, thank you. And thank you. I guess WSSE finally got the message. There's writing on the curb that was damaged from the sinkhole. I don't know who thought that was acceptable, but thank you.
Okay, I'm presenting on the screen. Yes, I'm going to come back to you. I'll come back to you.
Okay, I might lose it.
So my report for this meeting is brief. We have something that's been mentioned several times today. I want to make sure the residents know and come out for this. Our FY27 budget hearing is going to be here in this building on May 20th at 8 p.m. Residents are invited to join us for the fiscal 2027 proposed budget. This is a chance for you to come out and hear and also make comment on the budget plan that the council will adopt. We are sending out the finalized draft for residents to make sure they have a chance to look over before that date comes. And we look forward to your feedback and input. Also at that meeting, we have data from the stop sign monitoring program that is ready for presentation. So you can also join us on May 20th as the ABIO team will be here and they're going to share the data and the results from the first few months of running the program and talk about some of the behavior change the council president mentioned. Don't have a slide for this, but we want to make sure Foresight's residents know that the legislative update for District 26, our state senators and delegates, is going to happen May 9th at the Hillcrest Heights Community Center. We'll send a flyer out for that. Don't have the exact address, but just look for information coming for that soon. Does anyone have the time? It's going to be at 10 a.m. So May 9th, at 10 a.m. at the Hillcrest Heights Community Center. That concludes my report. Councilmember Brownson, you had something for Council President's report.
Yes, her report said, asked about the HUD project up on Woodland Drive, and Mr. Jackson said it was on schedule. So did we ever get a schedule of what on schedule mean? Yes, Black Hawk. He said it's on schedule. Did we ever get a schedule of what on schedule mean? Mr. Jackson?
I believe I sent a schedule of sorts to Council President Noble a few weeks ago. I'll look through my email. I'll look through my email and
You
then I'll
just
send
sent
it to the
her?
rest. Yes, because she asked for it.
Oh, but shouldn't we, wasn't that part of the contract that we signed when we hired that contractor, that he would send us a schedule? Yeah, it was.
I will send you what I sent Council President
It
Noble.
was. I mean, we all should have it. And we shouldn't have to ask for it because that was part of the contract. And I just want to make a comment on.
Just a moment. Mr. Jackson, you'll send the entire schedule that Ms. Council President got to the entire council.
Yes.
Thank you. The document's going to go to the entire council.
Okay, and just another comment on, in the newsletter, you just mentioned that the budget hearing is going to be on May 20th at 8 a.m. and that's our regular town PM. And that's our regular town meeting. So you can't have a hearing and a regular town meeting at the same time slot.
Is that so?
That's in the chart.
Which section?
I can't quote it out, so, but yeah. You can.
Okay, well, I disagree.
Okay.
But I
But
believe you're entitled to your opinion, and thank you for presenting that. All right, next we will move on in our agenda to public period. This is the time when members of the public have a chance to address the mayor and council and to ask questions or provide comment. You have up to 2 minutes to provide comment, and we ask that you would state your name. Is there anyone either in person or online who wishes to speak during public period tonight? If you could come forward one at a time. Good evening. And when you get to this mic, we just want to make sure that light is green so everyone at home can hear you as well.
It's green.
Great. Could you please state your name and I'll begin timing in just a moment.
My name
And your
is
street
Douglas
address.
Medley.
Okay. Hey, could you give us your street?
I am not a resident of Forest Heights.
Okay. Your
I
time
live
is
in
beginning.
Clinton.
You can talk. You have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. I'm calling about, I'm here because of that stop sign camera. I think it's in the wrong position and it needs to be moved. We should not have to make 2 stops to enter the intersection of Livingston Road. Now, my sister lives here. I visit her on a regular basis. And I've gotten 2 tickets, one on a Sunday, one on a Thursday, but the notice of the ticket did not come in until the following week. Now, I've been at my sister's house and observed the number of people who drive their children to school. There's a school on here, Flintstone. Now, if I got my ticket the following week, those parents that drove their kids there in the morning and then came back and picked them up in the afternoon, the tickets were $40 each. That's $80. 80 times 5, that's the school week, that's $400. That's $400 of some people's budget. It's probably really disrupt their household. And I've noticed that at that school, there's a lot of low income families. And I'm sure that really ruined their budgets. I think you need to reconsider the location of that stop sign camera. It needs to be closer to the intersection, so they won't have to make two stops. It's just not normal for a person to stop and then stop again. You cannot see who's coming up or down Livingston Road if you're
Yes.
at that white line. You
That's your time.
not see it.
We appreciate your comments tonight. And as we mentioned earlier in the meeting, we will have a presentation by the company that runs the program to discuss publicly with residents and the public the progress on the program so far. So we thank you for your comment tonight.
All right, I was asked to come.
If you have additional feedback, you can also email us or call our office. We have information here we can provide before you leave tonight. Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak during public period? Please come forward. And if you could state your name and your street, you'll also have 2 minutes as well.
Carolyn Bracy, Comanche Drive. And I'm here on the exact same subject. I live on Comanche Drive. Anywhere I go, I have to go down there. Where the stop sign is, you cannot see in either direction. So you have to stop twice. You have to stop first to pose for the camera. Then you got to go down a couple of inches in order to see. There's a great big bush on the left. You cannot see around that bush. You do not know what's coming until you go down to the end of the street. And also you can't even see whether you're on the line, before the line, or after the line. And every other day I'm getting 2 tickets in the mail. Also, the ticket says, push this to view to view. You can't view it unless you pay a ticket first. So they need to change that. And I just feel like I can't go, I don't want to go anywhere in this town because I'll have to pay $40 to go. And everybody who comes to visit me has to pay $40 to visit me. So they need to fix that, where that is on Comanche, at the end of Comanche Drive and Livingston Road. It's very inconvenient and it's unfair to people who go that way. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Bracy. We're going to have on May 20th, we'll have a presentation from the group with data talking through the program and also hopefully some discussion as well.
Oh, could I have 2 more seconds?
No, I can't allow it. My apologies. I have to be fair to everyone who's going to speak tonight.
Okay.
If you do have follow-up questions though, however, we can take more by phone or email. And I don't know if you're staying the entire meeting. If you're still here at the end, we'd be happy to talk with you as well. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak during public period?
Hello, my name is Willow Collins. I live off of South Huron. And I just wanted to let you guys know I got solar panels completely for free. I didn't know this, but Maryland sent out somebody from Empower and he showed me a GIS grid. And there's a program in DC that because we're so close to DC, we're on their grid. And so I wasn't sure, but I think a lot of people in the town may qualify for completely free solar panels and it's a lease. And so you don't, if you know, you don't own them, but at a time when I have more than 2 minutes, I'm happy to kind of talk about why it worked out really well. The other thing I wanted to say was in honor of the emergency prep, there's something called Field Day in that happens in June, and it is a ham radio readiness event that happens all across the country, but the Smithsonian hosts one up at in Edgewater. It's completely free and it's open for the public. So if that'd be something people would be interested in, maybe just letting the town know, it's something you can stop by. You can see how emergency radio connections are made and all that kind of stuff. I also wanted to say that there is something called the Postal Stamp Camp, as well as 2 other education and youth leadership summits that the Smithsonian is also hosting that are going to be, they're completely free, and they're going to be July 14th through 16th. And there's 3 different ones. And so one is for ages 6 to 12, and the others, I believe, are more geared towards high school students, but they're completely free. And I think it could be a great opportunity because we've got some really amazing youth leaders. And the last one, maybe this isn't the right place for it, but I didn't want to sick the cops on this man, but there's a gentleman who's in the gathering area, I've noticed. Okay, I was hoping we could do like a wellness check on him or something. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Kennedy, you have something about what you just said?
So thank you for everyone that took the time to come up here. Appreciate the information. If it's possible, can you get all of the information you just talked about to, I guess, our town administrator or our town clerk? So that way we can try and get it in the newsletter before these events happen. For the concern that you had, you stated that you couldn't see the video until you paid for it. I don't know who's here on what time frame, but maybe you can come up to the town hall and one of our lovely staff members can walk you through helping you to figure out how to see it before you pay for it. So that way you feel more comfortable. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Councilmember Kennedy is right. I've viewed tickets with residents who had more than one. We've looked at the video to review it together before any payment is issued. So if you haven't been able to do so, at the Police Department 5410, we have staff who will do that for you, with you. Council President.
Just on the ticket and viewing it, because when I went to visit with the resident, and I just put in the citation number, it didn't work. But when I put in the PIN number that's on the ticket, then it brought up the video. So by no means did I pay his ticket, but we could see it once we put the PIN number in. So you have to put the PIN number in. Although it says pay ticket, you won't pay the ticket, but you'll see the video. People don't know that. So. Need to move this.
All right, next we will move, if there's no one else who wishes to speak during public period, online. Okay, public period is now closed. Next, we'll move into department reports. Thank you both for coming tonight. First, we have the town administrator and project manager report. Are there any questions for that report this month? Hearing none, next we'll move to youth and community programming.
Well, with the town administrator report, we just got it, so I haven't had a chance to read it yet, so.
Okay.
It's not that
Well, I'm sure if you have questions next time, you'll ask them, you'll bring them up.
Yeah. Later.
All right, are there questions for the treasurer's report? Okay, hearing none. Next, we'll go to the police department report. Are there any questions? Not hearing any Jeopardy clickers going off. So is anyone thinking about their answer or their question? Councilmember Kennedy.
I don't have a question about your report, but I do have just a general question. When we see things, should we reach out to you directly and just send you a text, email, voicemail, something? What's the best way to pass information to you?
It depends on who. If it's an emergency, call 911. If it's someone that, if you just have an inquiry or you want to pass it along, feel free to call me, or send us a message and we'll go through it. But if there is an emergency, the fastest way to get to us is 911, because sometimes someone may not be there to answer the phone.
All right, thank you.
While we're on the police department report, I'll add that we had a meeting where we did a walkthrough of 5410 to see the condition of the building, and we are working on bringing some terms back to the council to consider so that the police department have a temporary place to stay. This is based on feedback from the council, going back and forth and trying to have an intermediate solution. So we'll provide more information once that agreement is ready for review. But I will say, It is not a long-term agreement. The terms are much shorter at council's request. And then we're exploring options that will allow us to be flexible with if construction or work begins on the building, so the town is able to leave or vacate prior. Is there anything else from the walkthrough, Chief or Mr. Jackson? Councilmember Bronson.
When we had our Ways and Means Committee meeting, I thought the treasurer told us that they would be renovating the building in January. You said 5410, right?
Yes, 5410, but right now they're waiting on permits, so they don't have an exact time of when construction will begin. But it could begin before the end of the year. We'll have to wait and see when they get their permits approved.
And just one, typographical errors just stick out to me. So on your report, you have strop sign citations.
Sorry, I probably was typing too fast.
So that's a typographical error, but it just pops out when something like that. That's all I have.
Thank you. Chief, did you have something after? No. Yes? No? Okay. You didn't. All right. That concludes our reports for this month. Next, we'll move into legislation. And the first item under legislation is Ordinance 0126. This is an ordinance of the mayor and council of the town of Forest Heights, Maryland, to approve and adopt the fiscal year 2027 budget and authorize its amendment by resolution. Now, we're not voting on this tonight, but as an ordinance has requirements that it's read and introduced multiple times, this is our first reading and we'll have discussion. I'm going to read this resolution in its entirety into the record, and it states, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the town of Forest Heights, Maryland, to approve and adopt the fiscal year 2027 budget and authorize this amendment by resolution, introduced by Mayor Lilly. Whereas section 33-44 of the town charter requires that the mayor on such date as the council to determine, but at least 32 days before the beginning of any fiscal year shall submit a budget to the council, and said budget shall provide a complete financial plan for the budget year and shall contain estimates of anticipated revenues and proposed expenditures for the coming year. And whereas section 33-44 of the town charter further requires that the total of the anticipated revenues shall equal or exceed the total of the proposed expenditures, and that the budget shall be a public record in the office of the treasurer, open to public inspection during normal business hours. And whereas section 5-205B of the local government article of the annotated code of Maryland requires and authorizes a municipality to expend funds for public purposes in accordance with appropriated amounts. And whereas section 33-45 of the town charter requires that before adopting the budget, the council shall hold a public hearing thereon after 2 weeks' notice in the town newsletter or a newspaper of general circulation within the municipality. And section 33-45 of the town charter was amended to permit the annual budget to be amended throughout the fiscal year by resolution, provided such authority is granted in the adopting ordinance. And whereas section 33-52 of the town charter provides that the amount to be raised by property taxes shall constitute a determination of the tax levy for the corresponding fiscal year. And whereas the mayor has introduced a separate resolution establishing the tax rates and user fees for fiscal year 2027 necessary to support the budget adopted herein. And whereas the FY 2027 budget book provides the detailed estimates of revenues and expenditures consistent with this ordinance. Section 1, now therefore be it ordained and enacted by the mayor and the council of the town of Forest Heights that the fiscal year 2027 budget for the town of Forest Heights is hereby approved and adopted for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026 and ending June 30, 2027, and that the sums and amounts set forth therein are hereby appropriated. FY 27 revenues below. FY 27 draft budget lists total revenues as 9.641073 million. FY 27 appropriations follow below. FY 27 draft total appropriations 9.641.073 million. Section 2, and be it further resolved, further ordained and enacted that this budget ordinance may be amended from time to time by resolution of the mayor and council, including transfers between major funds, classifications, or appropriations in accordance with the town charter and applicable law. Section 3, and be it further ordained and enacted that the line item budget shall remain consistent with the total appropriation adopted herein, unless modified by subsequent action of the mayor and council. Section 4, and be it further ordained and enacted that if any section or part of a section of this ordinance shall be held invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, such holding shall not affect the remainder of this ordinance. Section 5, and be it further ordained and enacted that this ordinance shall take effect July 1st, 2026, having been introduced at a public hearing of the mayor and council of the town of Forest Heights held on, we'll be making an update to this. It says the 4th of May, but that'll be changed to the 20th. And having been read and adopted by a yea and nay vote of the mayor and council of the town of Forest Heights on the 20th of May, 2026. All right, before we open discussion on the budget ordinance, I'll note that the proposal this year is that we will keep our tax rates steady. So we will not be proposing a tax rate increase. However, rising values of properties over the assessed period will allow the revenue to increase to the town with the tax rates remaining the same. We also have added in a few categories that will allow the town to begin saving for expected future expenses such as road maintenance. We've seen the environment that we've been in lately where grant funding has been withdrawn or restricted at the state and federal level. And so anticipating these changes, the town is beginning the FY 27 budget by beginning to set aside funds specifically from collected revenues to pay for future roadway repairs. This proposed budget also continues to set money aside for rainy day and in the reserves of the town to strengthen our financial position in the event of emergencies or economic downturns in the future. And at the advice of our treasurer, funds in the budget have been designated to pay down debt, which is an effective way of reducing the town's financial liabilities. And this is debt related to vehicles that the town has. Furthermore, the budget has commitments to our community programming, youth and community and seniors. And we've heard tonight that we're going to be annotating some of the many events that residents look forward to seeing, whether it be community gatherings, senior exercise, community garden, youth and community bike rides, our summer camp and spring camp activities, as well as this year's budget includes an appropriation for a youth intern, expanding the town's commitment to bringing all ages of our community into the process of creating policy and understanding the process of civic engagement. At this time, I'll open it up for discussion from council and staff. Councilmember Brownson.
I'm looking at the 1, 2, 3, 4, whereas It says that the shall have a public hearing thereafter 2 weeks notice in the town newsletter. So I have the town newsletter here. And it says, under the message from the mayor, that the budget hearing will be on Tuesday, May 20th at 8 p.m. Pardon me?
20th is April.
I know. That's why I'm pointing it out as an error. So it's not not in compliance with what this resolution is saying.
Well, thank you for noting that. That's an embarrassing error. However, there's a public notice which is separate from the mayor's letter on page 7 in the newsletter, and it outlines the authority for the public notice, the date, the time, the location, the link to join the meeting virtually, and an invitation for residents to come either in person or virtually, and written comments to be submitted to the town clerk.
Yeah, my question,
Just a moment, I'll finish.
Okay.
So this notice is in the newsletter as required by the charter, according to the resolution in the charter. And it's also publicly posted in the building and will be going out in other means that the town has access to. So it has satisfied the requirement. It's more than 2 weeks out in the newsletter. It's been published before the newsletter was available and will continue to be.
But how do we know which date that the resident's gonna pick up? I mean, usually people read from front to back. This is in the front. So even though it's correct, maybe correct or different someplace else, it's still an error and it doesn't comply with this whereas.
Well, I can understand how,
That's my
I
comment.
can understand how you feel that way, and I disagree because the public notice
Yeah.
that is a requirement in the charter is correct.
And
So thank you for your input, Councilmember Brownson.
some comments. So the figures that is in this resolution are the figures that we discussed in the Ways and Means Committee meeting and the Finance Committee meeting. And we had a lot of reservations and suggestions about how that they should be some adjustments. So I don't know where that stands, but
I'm sorry, you're talking about the ordinance, right?
yeah, that's the ordinance.
Okay, because you said resolution, so I want to make sure I'm on the right document.
Oh, okay, yeah, ordinance.
Okay.
That when we had these figures in our Ways and Means Committee and our Finance Committee, and we had a lot of reservations about the numbers and had a lot of suggestions of how they should be edited and changed. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, this is a good time to raise those. That's what the discussions were.
Yeah, but I mean, it's by line item. So that they were by, we did the budget by line item. And that was one of the discussions with when you do the ordinance, you roll in all the numbers up. And then, but when we go through the budget, we go through it by line items. And so a lot of things and the line items that we have reservations about, they don't get changed. And this just rolls up and the treasurer said something that was kind of discerning to me. He said, go on and pass it, then we pass the budget as it is, and then you can change things later on. But if the ordinance and the budget is a legal document, and then the departments go by the line items, then there's a conflict there. So, yeah, so the town administrator and the police chief were there at the time, so they have the biggest departments, and they heard our concerns, and I don't know what they plan to do about it, but they heard them, so I don't know what the status of those are.
Thank you. The budget ordinance is a document that is law. You're correct in what you said. Where we differ is that the budget ordinance does not annotate line by line. It is the overall appropriations for each of the major categories. So that's what gets passed as part of the ordinance. The budget book in each line is not part of the law. And so this is a great opportunity to discuss some of the suggestions for changes and to see what the rest of the council says, if we have support for making the changes. And if so, we make them. The budget hearing is an opportunity for members of the public to weigh in if they think that we need to make further or additional changes. So the discussion of the budget, we can make those changes now. Councilmember Kennedy.
How would the public weigh in? Are we emailing everyone in the town a copy of this proposed budget? Because they can't weigh in if they've never seen it. And in the past, I think what we've been accustomed to is God bless you.
Bless you.
We go through the line item line by line, so that way if anyone had a concern, a suggestion, a comment, then it would be addressed at that point. And of course, it wouldn't be passed that day, but hopefully the next meeting or we'd be able to iron that out. What I guess the concern would be, as the council member said, we're being suggested to just pass everything and we'll iron it out later. That's not getting the input of the elected body if it's just shoveled down our throat. Yes, and the residents.
Well, I am not suggesting we just pass it and make changes later. I'm suggesting that we discuss it, which is why I went to committee before it came to this meeting, which is why the public's invited to the committee meetings to listen and to weigh in. And there's nothing preventing us from using the budget hearing to go through and make additional talks and changes. So my position is that we can begin now. And we've actually already begun over the weekend with the finance committee meetings. And how has the budget been presented in the past? Has it been emailed directly to residents in the past? Okay, so we're going to continue the process that we've used in the past, which is making the budget fully available once that final draft is ready. That'll be happening, if it hasn't happened already, tomorrow. The budget is ready for presentation for anyone who wants to visit the building publicly to see it. And so we're continuing to invite feedback. This is not a final document. This is for council to work out. Councilmember Little.
I would like to know if council and the residents would like to have another finance committee meeting before we approve it. Do you think that'll be sufficient?
Well, that's what the budget hearing is supposed to be about. The
Right.
council and the residents
Yeah.
going out, looking at the budget line by line. That's what the hearing is about. That's what, in my understanding, the way it has been.
So here's what we'll do. If you have feedback and comments today, we'll take them. In the budget hearing, we'll go through the document and we'll find where increases will happen or decreases. We'll invite feedback. We'll have resident impacts and input specifically on the budget. And that's what we'll do. I think it's a good idea to keep that practice going.
Well, my question is that when we had the finance meeting and the Ways and Means Committee meeting and made the suggestions, we still need another draft of those suggestions.
Yes, you'll be getting that.
Right, so therefore we don't have anything to work with until we look at the original suggestions.
Madam Clerk, are there any records of some of the comments and suggestions that were made from the committee meetings over the weekend?
She wasn't there.
Okay. Just a moment. I'm going to go to the treasurer or town administrator. Do we have any of the feedback that was offered in the committee meetings where we can come to some of the points now or just highlight what some of the changes or suggestions were. And I will note also because of the way that the committees work, we do need to have a majority of the body to approve any of the changes so they can be made. So that's another reason.
It was
Yeah.
for suggestions.
Okay.
And-
Mr. Frankenfield.
Fine
I'll go to Mr. Frankenfield.
But I want to just say, we asked the department heads to review their budgets and go back and look at them. That was the suggestion. Let each department that submitted their budget go back and look at it and see if they want to make some of the suggestions, incorporate some of the suggestions that we made.
Okay. Mr. Frankenfield.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. Mayor, my report on what was discussed at the Finance and Ways and Means Committee meeting are the following. I heard questions on the intern hire in general government budgeted for $10,000. I heard questions on the HR hire budgeted in general government for $35,000. I heard a recommendation from one Ways and Means Committee member that all spending should be cut across all departments. And that spending would fund a set aside appropriation for the future of the police department. The staff that were in the meeting didn't agree with that recommendation. We said we have done our best to put forth our recommended appropriations. So we didn't come to a consensus on that point. It was a suggestion.
Council President Noble.
Great recall. Thank you. To add to that, with the intern, Councilwoman Little's, program, is looking to employ someone. So that was like a savings of that $10,000.
We could possibly hire an intern, but we will have to also get them enrolled. We're gonna have
Yeah.
We're gonna have further discussions on how this will look like to have employ Prince George's provide the funding for an intern to come in for 10 weeks. If it's something that you all want some more extensive outside of that, we have to look at other options. But Mr. Clayton Jackson and I are planning to talk so we can look more into details to see how that looks, especially before we approve the budget, because there may be some kind of stipulations where we may or may not be able to get him enrolled so we'll discuss this further and have more answers before the May 20th meeting. Okay, thank you. For sure.
And the other part to that, Mayor, was looking at our lobbyists.
Yeah.
What other services can they provide? So using the $35,000 for HR or like grant management, project management, maybe it's more we pay them, but less we pay out for employees or individuals. So maybe how to redirect those dollars. Those are my two recalls.
Council President, tell me more about on the lobbyists. Is that increasing their fee and having them do more, or is it reducing their fee and having
No,
them
increase their fee to do
have them do
more.
more?
Yeah, because we also talked about the cleaners, just to maybe they can get in, because they did bring the legislative body, to tour the town, and we did look at that site with them. So maybe to get them engaged again to get funding. And also last week I went to something on the Hill Opportunity Summit. So I have some information like federal funding I can share later.
On the moving forward with the Star Cleaners, we have the Strategic Planning Commission meeting, and in the strategic planning process, we're hoping to have a community discussion about what to do holistically with that building, so that whatever happens next, works long-term and gets underway successfully. So that's a component to gather feedback from council and community about what we could do next, since it's been on pause for quite a few years. Councilmember Bronson, I'll come back to you. Councilmember
We
Bronson.
also discussed, when I said each department, because each department seems as though they were getting a pay increase. And I asked the town treasurer, I said, well, how does, what pay scale were they using? He said he didn't know that we were using a pay scale, but Mr. Jackson clarified that we were using a pay scale. So if we're using a pay scale to give everybody an increase, that means the budget is for each staff person is an increase, which means that when we pay out money for retirement plan, that's gonna go up. So it was like a domino effect, but if you look at the pay increases, it just, if we're gonna do pay increase, is the cost of living, is it a pay increase? That needs to, I feel that there needs to be a resolution. We need to approve that.
Thank you. The way it's proposed is staff are getting an across-the-board increase. And I hear your comment, so thank you for what you said. Council President Noble.
Keeping in line with the Strategic Planning Committee, I know they've only met twice, but is it possible, are they doing some kind of reporting so that we, as the body, can communicate what's going on about strategic planning in the town?
Yes, well, the committee has met, but they have not taken any actions. They're reviewing some information. They're going to send that to the council for review. So they're acting in an advisory capacity. And once they have gotten to a point where there's a recommendation or a report, they'll be sending it for council. Any other discussion on the budget? Okay. Next, we'll move to, oh, it didn't seem like you had a question. What's the outcome of this discussion? There'll be some working and discussion in between now to look at some of the recommendations. All right, next we'll move to Resolution 33-26. This is a resolution of the mayor and council of the town of Forsyth, Maryland, to approve the amendment to Resolution 26-26, approving the proposal and award contract for auditing services for the towns of Forsyth for the fiscal year ending in 2026 to Lindsay and Associates LLC to perform the year ending June 30, 2026 audit of the town's financial records and prepare the financial statement for the town for said fiscal year, adding additional reporting requirements. We don't have to vote on this. This is down for discussion, but to give a quick summary, Resolution 33-26 is fixing a word that was not included when we were making our amendment to that resolution. We left out the word "to," apparently. And so this fixes that so that the resolution for a member of the public would understand and it would make sense. I'm going to read the line. It's actually in the "now, therefore be it resolved" clause, I believe. Just a moment, I'll tell you where it is. It's in the last whereas clause. So in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in the sixth whereas, it now states the mayor and council require that Lindsay Associates provide the completed report to the town's management as well as all elected officials prior to submission for review. And previously it was missing a word or two that caused confusion. So this resolution is simply fixing the wording so that the review for elected officials is clearly stated. Your hand went up so fast. Councilmember Bronson.
Chief Administrative Officer. We do not have a Chief Administrative Officer. We have a town administrator. And on the third, the last whereas, it says, as well as all elected officials prior to submission for review. So I was saying maybe it should be, as all elected officials for review, you want to review it before you submit, right? That.
It sounds like that's what it's saying.
So it said, we want to, complete the, report to the town's management as well as all elected officials for review. We're not gonna review it before we submit it, or they're gonna submit it and then we review it. This is prior to submission. Right, should it be before review prior? Is my question.
I don't think so, because it says prior to submission for review. The for review is your review or the council's review. Correct. Potato, tomato, potato, potato.
Those are extensive. That we don't have a, the third where the mayor and the chief administrative officer, we do not have, that should be the town administrator.
Thank you. Council President Noble?
Yes, on my third whereas, my concern is just the language to continue the partnership. I don't think you engage in a partnership with someone who's doing your audits. So to continue the services from Lindsay with Lindsay. And now the way I due to the satisfactory job done and on the completion of previous years, I mean, they did their job. So that's kind of bias. Like we want to do business because they did a good job, but it's not, we're not partnering with them. They're not our partner. They're the auditing firm that's here to audit. So I think partnership needs to come out some kind of way and change for services or.
Any further discussion?
That's where of Forest High Schools running together. Need to just space. It's looking like it's off. It's,
Yes. Well, some suggestions have been provided. I'm curious to hear what other councils thinks. Are these changes that need to be made? Are we going to be making motions to make them, or is it going to be remaining the same?
Well, since we're splitting hairs, we gotta change the date.
Well, there's a couple questions. First, do we want to amend? Then I think we'll be at a position of where we can decide if it's going to be passed tonight or some other date in the future.
So what Councilwoman Brownson was talking about with the prior to, both way to me read the same. It's saying that before they where is that?
Last whereas, the sixth whereas, right before now, therefore be it resolved.
Yeah, because it's saying as well as it's provide the completed report to the town's management as well as all elected officials prior to submission for review. So I guess the concern, I'm assuming, or question is are we going to get a copy of it and then it's just submitted, or are we going to have time to actually give input in it or on it prior to it's submitted?
So auditor's report is a auditor's opinion of the financial records. They're going to submit it for review. And what we've discussed is having a presentation for questions to be answered on the audit before it gets submitted. However, since the elected body is not conducting the audit, we are not going to be voting on changes to it, but we will be providing an opportunity for clarification and questions to be asked prior to submission.
County or who that doesn't exist, we can't make those comments before submitting.
Council member, that's exactly what we'll be doing in that session. We'll be talking through questions and clarifications, dollar amounts and opinions of the record.
Right.
That won't be, substantive details will not be changed, but it is specifically to answer questions and to catch any items that may need update, typographical, clerical things before it gets reviewed.
So that would be prior to submission.
Yes.
So
It-
we will review it prior
Yes.
to submission.
Yes.
That's why I said the review comes prior before the submission.
Mhm. Okay. Okay.
Yes, I'd like to offer an amendment for the third whereas, changing partnership to services, changing the word partnership to services of, partnership with to services of Lindsay and Associates.
Is there a second?
You want to change the chief administrator?
Well, that wasn't my concern.
That's
Would
fine.
you like to,
I'm gonna make a motion.
you wanna?
There's one on the floor.
It's
Is there
mine,
a
I'm good
second?
with mine.
I second.
Thank
It's been
you.
moved and seconded that resolution 33-26 be changed or amended, striking the words in the third whereas partnership with and inserting service, what was it, services?
Yeah.
And inserting services.
We could actually delete that entire whereas clause and it would still read.
So just a moment, we've got the motion on the floor, the second discussion. Councilmember Kennedy, you
I'm gonna
said,
withdraw mine.
say that again?
Well, that is part of the discussion. What I was discussing or would like to discuss is just delete that whole whereas clause. Because this is obviously a resolution that we want to continue using them to do the next audit. So that entire whereas is almost redundant or not necessary.
Okay, and it sounds like Council President was going to withdraw the motion.
I would like to withdraw my motion.
Okay.
And that take care of mine.
Is there a motion for the other item?
Oh, I would like to withdraw my motion and make a motion that we delete the third whereas.
Is there a second?
A second.
It has been moved and seconded that we amend resolution 33-26, deleting the third whereas in its entirety. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it, and the amendment is adopted. This is a successful amendment because it didn't add any new words, which means there's no opportunity to not include something. All right, do we want to vote on this tonight? No, the date's going to be today if we vote tonight. No, unless council wants to.
I'll make a motion that we vote on this tonight.
Yes, you can. We don't, okay. There's an amendment on, there's a motion on the floor to approve resolution 33-26 tonight instead of, I'll leave it as for discussion only. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve resolution 33-26 tonight. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, hearing none. Who's going to offer the amendment? I mean, the motion to vote. Did you want to do that? And this is going to be as amended.
I would like to make an emotion that a motion that we vote on the resolution 33-26 as amended. That's it.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we vote on, that we approve resolution 33-26 as amended. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hines,
Yes.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Abstain. I'm just kidding. Yes.
Councilmember Brownson,
Yes.
Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Council President Noble,
Yes.
Mayor Lily.
Yes.
The vote was unanimous. The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next, we have resolution 35-26, a resolution authorizing the submission of an application for funding under the Police Recruitment and Retention PRAR grant program through the Governor's Office of Crime Prevention and Policy, GOCCP. I move that we adopt resolution 35-26.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution 35-26. Discussion. This is a resolution that appeared on the agenda in a past meeting, and we made some adjustments to make sure that the language comports with the way the process works. The application has been submitted, but this is an additional component of that amendment of that application, and there are continuing efforts that have opened up within this grant period that the police department can apply for and take advantage of, and that's what this resolution is doing. Discussion. Councilmember Brownson.
The dates have April on them, where you're adopting it and certifying it, so all the dates need to be changed. And also, the first, number one, my question, I'm just asking a question. If funding is awarded, the town hereby authorize acceptance of the grant in the amount. So normally when we accept money, we do it by resolution. Is that true? Haven't we been doing?
Yes, this is a resolution where the application has already gone forth, and this is an additional component.
But usually when we get money, we do a resolution to accept it.
Chief Ruffin, is there going to be an additional exchange of money as part of this?
The equipment, but just to purchase the items.
Say that one more time, just a little louder.
Sorry, just to purchase the items.
Okay. So is the town going to be receiving an inflow of cash?
Yes, the town will receive the money.
Mhm.
The reason why it's kind of done this way is because the award will probably be accepted around July, which there's no meetings in August. So now it puts us behind Q1 to actually spend it. So that's why we wanted to do this now. So when the money is awarded, it's already in the budget and it's accepted, that we can go ahead and get it and put it in the bank prior to it going into September for us to get it in.
Okay. Council President.
Now, I guess my understanding, because we didn't know the dollar amount, right? Or do we?
Yes, I'll get you the dollar amount. I'll get you the dollar amount of how much it is.
And we made it a rule that we don't have a meeting in August, or we do that every year? It's not standard, it's not in,
We do that because of foresight staff.
so that's law, policy, what? I'm sorry?
In the
Okay,
past, what we've done is put a resolution on the agenda to specify that we're going to do the recess day in August.
right, but it's not guaranteed that we're gonna pass that. I mean, he's like, since we're on recess in August, like, that's automatic, but it's not automatic, it has to be done by resolution.
It seems like it's proactive since it's happened every year since the institution of the change that allows us to take the recess. Now, if you don't want to take the recess, I don't know what the other council members are going to say.
Not asking is it policy? And if so, it'll be policy, not just an assumption.
You're talking about changing the charter?
No,
Then what's policy?
you can make it, you can put it in the handbook where, like, you have holidays in there and whatever.
Council President?
On that, I think even when we vote to agree to recess, we know that it be times that we may have to come back. So if something happens that it requires the council's attention. So for me, I don't think we ever recess. We have it out there, but we may not need it.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
For the purposes of this resolution, if we have the dollar amount, we can insert it. And then now therefore be it resolved. However, if we don't, I'm curious to see what council thinks. What does the rest of the council think about what we should do at this point? Is it something we need to change, or are we going to approve the resolution as is?
I think if we had the dollar amount, it would be better to add the dollar amount. Yeah. With the explanation why we need to, because this is accepting the money as well, but this is kind of a blank. We don't know what it is.
It's $10,479.
Okay, so back to my question, I'm trying to figure out, usually with the treasurer, when money comes in, we accept it with a resolution and put it someplace and stuff like that. It's not, a blanket. Just,
Okay. I move that we. Okay.
Sorry to put you on the spot here. So I'm reading, apparently this grant was already on this laptop, so I was able to see, the pages. So, are these coming with any type of warranty? Because they look like they would be easy to fall off and possibly break.
I can't answer that question, but I would assume they would come with something, but I can't honestly answer it.
Okay. So basically you just want this covered in case there's a lapse of any time that we can't meet, that once the funding is approved and sent, that you can purchase the items.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, I move that we amend resolution 35-26 in the first sentence under the first numbered sentence and the now therefore be it resolved clause, number 1, where it says in the amount not to exceed, I want to strike the words that come after that, strike the awarded funding and instead insert $10,479. So what would happen is the sentence would read this way. Currently, it says if funding is awarded, the town hereby authorizes acceptance of the grant in an amount not to exceed the awarded funding. In the proposed change, it'll say if funding is awarded to the town, the town hereby authorizes acceptance of the grant in an amount not to exceed $10,479. Well, first, we need a second. to go into discussion if it's going to even make it there. Can we discuss it in discussion before voting on the amendment? Is there a second to make the change from awarded funding to the dollar amount of $10,479 not to exceed?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we amend resolution 35-26. Discussion.
If we're gonna get more money than that, I don't want to cap us at that. If anything, I say, minimum of that. If they decide they want to give us 100,000, we just capped ourselves. So I'm just saying.
Anyone else?
My comment is still that it still should be done, not just a blind acceptance, it should be done by resolution. Accept money by resolution. I'm sorry? It didn't say that. I'm talking about number one.
Okay.
That it says, if funding is awarded, the town hereby authorize acceptance of the grant in the amount of, he said 10,000. And agrees to comply with all applicable terms and conditions. We don't know what the terms and conditions are, but whatever. So it's a blind, to me, it's a blind acceptance. Yeah.
So can that be fixed?
Well, there is an attachment, which Councilmember Kennedy brought up, which has a breakdown of the cost. So it's not a blind acceptance. It is detailed and it is itemized. And we expect to receive that amount. If we receive more, that would be a blessing. I guess we would need to have another resolution, which I believe the department would be happy to bring forward for us to approve.
What was the last thing you said?
There's an itemized list with the dollar amount that we've inserted. So there are terms, there are items that are listed. We do know what we would be getting. If we get more, the department will just need to come back and get a different approval. We're not expecting that to be the case, though.
It's not, the amount has nothing to do with accepting the money by resolution.
Well, I disagree, but I respect your opinion.
Kind of have, Council President, understand what you're finally getting ready to do.
Council President.
The amendment that's on the floor is the same as when she left the dais. Just a moment. So the amendment's the same as when she went to the dais. Did you have anything to add? We're still looking at adding the dollar amount. Okay. Councilmember Brownson.
I have a question. Can resolutions be passed just by consent of the council president, the mayor, and the treasurer? Can resolution be passed like that?
Have you read that somewhere?
No, I'm asking the question. I don't know. I was saying that if we get the money in August or whenever we're on recess, then you all can accept it. That was my question.
No.
Y'all can't accept it?
However, if there's a need, if more money comes, that's a good thing. We'll schedule an emergency meeting. We'll deal with that if it happens. But right now, we've got an itemized list of things that comes to that dollar amount that we're expecting to receive if the award is given.
That's not my question. My question is, do we have to accept money by resolution?
Well, it doesn't seem like we're going to come to the same opinion on this topic. So I respect what you said. And at this point,
the attorney on the line.
Is Mr. Deloach on the line? Yes, he is. Good evening, Mr. Deloach.
So
Good evening.
Good evening. My question was, do we have to accept money from a grant by resolution?
Was the grant application, I mean, we applied for the grant, right?
They're going to, they're going to.
Have we applied? We haven't applied for the grant yet?
Oh, I don't know.
We have applied, yes.
And the money has come in?
No.
I don't think you need a resolution since you applied for the grant. The purpose of the grant was to get the money. So I'm assuming that there was a vote to apply for the grant.
Mhm.
The assumption is if you applied for the grant, the assumption is you're going to accept any money that comes in,
Mhm.
and you would not need a resolution for that. Now,
So,
if the grant requires you to do something else in order to get the money,
Mhm.
then there may need to be a resolution for that authorizing that. But if you've already applied for it, the hope was we were going to get it, and there shouldn't have to be any more legislative action to accept the money.
so the question is, when you accept it, do you need, the treasurer needs something to do to say where you're gonna put it, anything?
Well, I think that is something that is probably something that needs to happen. If the original resolution authorizing the grant didn't specify where those funds would go.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go to Councilmember Kennedy and then we'll go to the vote.
So have you seen this resolution or the background information attached for the GOCCP grant?
Are you referring to me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So I think what I'm hearing is in the past, we've did a resolution to go after a grant, and then once the money came in, we did a resolution to accept it. But I think what's trying to be done with this resolution is instead of having to do two different ones, it's given authorization to submit the grant, and then once we get it, then it goes to that earmarked items that the police chief would like to purchase with the funding. So that way we don't have to come back and say, okay, we've accepted this amount and this is where it's going. This one resolution encompasses all of that. So is that sufficient?
That is sufficient.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. We have a motion on the floor to amend the resolution 35-26, striking the words. Just a moment. We need a further amendment, but that's okay. No, we need to do the dates as well. So the motion on the floor is to amend resolution 35-26 under the now therefore be it resolved clause, the first numbered sentence where the words state in amount not to exceed the award funding, we're striking the words the award funding and inserting $10,479. All in favor, please signify by saying aye for the amendment. I'm going to just do it separately.
Aye.
The amendment on the floor is to amend resolution 35-26 in the now therefore be resolved clause under the first numbered sentence, which now says that the acceptance of the grant in an amount not to exceed the awarded funding will strike the words the awarded funding, and instead it will read in an amount not to exceed $10,479. That's what the amendment is proposing to do. Okay, so all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. That amendment is taken care of. We have the dates that we need to update. The resolution reads as if the adoption would be on the 15th of April, as well as the certified date. So I move that we further amend resolution 35-26, changing the adopted date in two places from the 15th of April to the 4th of May, 2026.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we had further amend Resolution 35-26, changing the adopted day in two places from the 15th of May to the 4th, from the 15th of April to the 4th of May, 2026. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. I move that we adopt Resolution 35-26 as amended.
Second.
Madam Clerk? Well, it has been it has been moved that we adopt Resolution 35-26 as amended. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hines,
Yeah.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Yes.
Councilmember Brownson,
Abstain.
Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Council President Noble,
Yes.
Mayor Lily,
Yes.
5 yeses, 1 abstention. The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next, we move to the last item of legislation on our agenda this evening. This is Resolution 37-26, a resolution to set forth and establish the town's real property tax rates for fiscal year 2027. I move that we adopt Resolution 37-26.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt Resolution 37-26. Discussion. As I mentioned earlier in tonight's meeting, the budget proposal for FY27 has incorporated tax rates that remain the same. And for the purpose of those at home, the rates that are proposed are for non-commercial residential, 0.4654, for commercial, 0.60, for not approved for homestead tax credit residential, 0.60, special tax subclass, Harborview parcels pre-annexation agreement, 0.10, business personal property tax, 1.75, utility personal property tax, 3.0. And I'll further add that the Harborview parcels are taxed at a lower rate because the property is currently vacant. Once the structures are built, once new structures are built and completed, each of those buildings will be reassessed. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to be mistaken, Mr. Deloche can look into this. The tax rate, once the buildings are built, will be based on the type of structure, whether commercial or residential. So currently they're vacant and the structures on them are not habitable. That's why the rate is lower per the pre-annexation agreement, but those rates change once the structures are built and are reassessed. Any further discussion on Resolution 37-26? Okay, hearing none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Bless you.
Councilmember Hines,
Yes.
Councilmember Kennedy,
Yes.
Councilmember Brownson, Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Council President Noble,
Yes.
Mayor Lily,
Yes.
5 yeses, 1 nay. The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That concludes our legislation for this evening. The time is now 9:45 and this meeting is adjourned.